Yeah. What am I up to for the next 3 days? Well, let's go in here and take a look. Welcome to my laboratory. Yes, this will be my laboratory for the next few days. What do you suppose I'm going to be doing here? Yes, I'm going to be repainting this little condo. And it's only a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo, but man, it's right next to Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe's right out here. Oh man, this is awesome where it is. I'm gonna like staying here, and I'm gonna end up just staying here for the next couple nights. This will be my bed right here, and I'm just gonna be in here painting. And I'm all ready because I've got my 24-pack of Diet Coke here, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's just talk about this a little bit, okay? But first off, if you want to see this entire project, stick around, because that's what I'm going to be showing you on this whole entire video series. Yeah. Now I'll be talking a little bit more about this once I get going, once I get the paint in here. I haven't even brought all my stuff in here. The only thing I brought in here so far is my Diet Coke, so I can put some in the refrigerator to get them cold, and my video camera. That's it. So when I get ready to paint, yeah, I'm here all by myself, and I've got to get this all done for a friend of mine. I told them that I would be more than happy to help them out repainting this little condo form. And of course, before I get the paint out at all, I've got a lot of prep work here to do. I'm gonna have to move the bed out away from the wall because I'm gonna repaint everything. So I'll have to move these nightstands out of the way, the pictures on the wall, probably take the just the curtain rod down. Fortunately, I won't have to take the mini blinds down because it's got wood surrounds around it. Okay, here I've got a wall mount TV. I don't know if I'm going to disconnect that or not. I may be able to pull it out, wrap some plastic around it, or do something like that, paint around it, take this glass countertop off probably, and I'll probably leave this because they've got it either glued on, taped on, screwed on. So I'll probably leave that and have to paint around that. But as for the heaters, the baseboard heaters, I'll obviously have to leave those in place. Certain things I'm going to have to leave in place, certain things I'm not. I'm going to pull this away from the wall, even though she wants the color matched. Okay, I'm not going to just paint around stuff and paint around the headboard and all that kind of stuff. For one, I'm getting the color, I matched up the color pretty close to this. And I've looked at this paint, and this paint is a flat paint. And what I'm doing is I'm repainting these walls. All the walls that are flat, I'm going to be painting with eggshell so that you can wipe down marks on them and stuff, you know, with eggshell. See, you can't really see that right there. There's some marks around there. I've got the lights on and stuff, but there's not a whole lot of light in here. But if I paint the walls with an eggshell finish, it's going to give it a little bit of a sheen. It's kind of like a satin finish, a low sheen on the walls. It's the colors still going to look fine. It's not going to be like a semi-gloss or anything. The only place where we're going to have semi-gloss is in the bathroom. I'm going to do semi-gloss in here. I've matched the paint. It's got semi-gloss on the ceiling and the walls. And good thing for me is it's all one color, so I won't have to paint the ceiling first with one color and cut it in and all that kind of stuff, and paint the walls a different color. So it's all the same color. Here out in the kitchen, I've noticed that it's semi-gloss in the kitchen. I think from around the corner up by the fireplace, this wall coming across, and not that, but I'll probably do the semi-gloss to this edge. I think they did semi-gloss from the side of the refrigerator, from there around that little ceiling down in there. But I might put semi-gloss on this and stop the kitchen, let's say, from that edge as opposed to the inside edge, because people walk around here. I can already see that this is kind of grimy to a certain extent. I mean, granted, this paint is probably close to 10 years old, and it still looks in pretty good shape. But I'm going to be painting all of it, and this area in here is flat paint. Down the hallway and the bedroom is flat paint. This little section's flat paint. This little section over here is flat paint, and this little section is flat paint. So can you see, if I put an eggshell finish on there, first off, it's going to give it a low sheen on there, so it's wipeable. You won't have to worry about smudges and stuff, not being able to clean them off without messing up your flat paint. If you ever try to clean flat paint, you know what I'm talking about. Plus, it'll brighten these walls up just a certain extent, okay? And so it's not a very big job, and I think I'm going to be here, you know, a good portion of it is just in the prep work. I've got to decide a few things. First off, obviously I've got to take all the pictures down, and then I'll probably take pictures of these on my cell phone so that I know exactly which picture goes where, and such. Take these off. I'm contemplating whether or not I need to take that light fixture down, or whether or not I'm going to paint around it. And same thing with the smoke alarm. There's one smoke alarm here. There's one smoke alarm here. There's also another smoke alarm up here in the corner, and there was a smoke alarm here in the bedroom, and by code you're supposed to have smoke alarms in your bedroom and your hall area going down towards the kitchen and that kind of stuff. And because there's no smoke alarm here, I told her, I said, Michelle, I'm gonna have to put a smoke alarm in here, and I went ahead and I saw that it was a hardwired smoke alarm, so I got to take that off, and I got a new smoke alarm. So I'll be, part of the project is to replace that with a hardwired smoke alarm that also has a battery backup, a lithium battery backup that's 10 years lithium battery. Okay, so I'll be doing that for the project too, and I'll be taking all the light switch cover plates off, the electrical cover plates off. I've seen some painters, they just leave that stuff, and I just can't imagine why somebody would want to do that. It's not that hard to take these off. Plus this box is kind of loose, I noticed from before. I don't know if I'm going to mess with that. We'll just have to see how long it's going to take to do all this kind of stuff. As for the thermostat, I'm not going to, I've decided I don't want to really mess with the thermostats. There's one here, there's also one out here, right here, and there's a little tag right here. I'm going to paint around those. I'll have to be careful. I'll have to be careful with those. But as for the light switch cover plates, I'll be taking those out. As for this heater, I'll probably paint around that. I don't know. I might take the cover off. We'll just have to see. And then I noticed there's another little heater. There's another little heater right there in the bathroom. I may take the cover off again. If it's easy enough to take the cover off, you know, without messing around. Or I'll have to look at it and make a decision on that. Especially since I'm here in the bathroom, let's look at this for a second. Usually I take the light fixtures down. Well, this one happens to be a square, well, rectangular one, and it's right down tight to the mirror. And I may just end up painting around that. I might just put some craft paper or something over that when I'm painting the ceiling so I don't get any little droplets on there. And I'll have to be careful. I'll probably paint everything with a 6-inch mini roller, not a 9-inch cover on a 9-inch paint frame. I'll probably use a 6-inch. And obviously I'm gonna paint around the toilet, but like for the towel ring here, I'm going to take that off the wall. And also the towel bars, I'm going to take these off the wall. I'll have to disconnect this, pull that out, take the cover off of that. And I'm not sure if I'm going to, I might just pop the door off. Just for the sake of it. It won't take me very long just to undo the door and get it out of here, so I don't have to keep swinging it back and forth. I won't have to worry about getting any droplets of paint on here coming in and out of here. Okay, I might do that same thing with this door in the bedroom. Okay, just so I don't have to come in and out and back up into it or get some paint on it, and it'll be easy enough where I could do that. Okay. And as for the floor, I've got a special thing that I put on the floor, and I'll show you that as we get going. But it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't really look like a whole lot of work, but there's a lot of prep. You know, you don't want to just paint around certain things. I've seen painters in some jobs where they say, we're just going to leave these and we're just going to paint around them. Well, yeah, you paint around it. With this bathroom, this is all semi-gloss. When you start rolling your paint with a paint roller cover with semi-gloss, you don't want to stop and start and go in here and, oh yeah, I'll get a mini roller and I'll go up through there and I'll come around the sides. Then you've got to cut in all the way around here with a paint brush. Same thing here. Same thing on these. And every time you paint with a paint brush, it's going to throw something slightly different than how your roller, you can do nice even strokes all the way up through there if you take this off. If you take these towel bars off and that kind of thing. You see what I mean? And so I try to minimize as much as I can. That's why I'm gonna end up spending some time and take some stuff off. Here's a coat rack, or this is for skis, because we're up at Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, and that's for somebody for skis or hats or gloves or anything like that. I'm gonna take that down. It's only 2 screws, you know, up in here. I'm gonna take that down. And as for that, I may look at the smoke alarms and decide whether or not I want to disconnect those. It doesn't take very much to disconnect those. Okay. As for that too, here's 2 little handrails going down the stairs. Well, again, this is flat paint. I'm gonna do eggshell there. And do I really want to mess around with painting up in there and back and forth and then try to cut in around all these trim pieces for the brackets? No, I don't really want to do that. And so, yes, I'm going to have to disconnect these. I'll unscrew these and I'll mark them to make sure I know which one goes where. And it's just going to look better when I get all done. I won't have any brush strokes around here because everything else will be paint roller cover with the paint roller. And then, you know, when you brush something with the paint roller, depending where your paint is and how your light's hitting it, you might be able to see, oh yeah, I see where Joe painted around there. Yeah, I'm not going to have him do anything around my house. That looks like crap. I can see exactly where his paintbrush marks are as opposed to his paint roller marks. And he's gotten paint all over the place. He's got it on the brackets. He's got it on towel bars. He's got it around the trim. Why didn't you take that trim down? My word, he didn't even do that. Now I see this nice little ring around the collar here where he ran his paintbrush, and he didn't take the cover plates off the electrical outlets. My word. So, you know, take some time, make a decision before you even get the paint out. Now here here, speaking of that, I'm going to have to make a decision right here. This is their little owner's closet, they call it. Now, years ago, this closet went all the way to here, but then they did something smart. They decided to shorten up this closet right to here, see? Right to here, and then they cut in and installed this door. Wasn't that a good idea? Because then they have this like a little owner's closet they can lock up, because this is a vacation condo rental. They come up here a few times every year, and they also rent it out. Oh, it's a beautiful place for the summer or for the winter, or even on the off season. Here we are towards the end of August. This is off season. All the kids have gone back to school. I'm going to love being up here for the next 2.5 days. Okay, this would be a perfect time to come out here. If you want to rent this, by the way, send me a comment. Maybe I can put you in contact with Michelle and get you up here at Tahoe. It's beautiful. It's close. It's right here at Kings Beach at Lake Tahoe. Okay, but I'm going to have to back here. I'm going to have to decide. Do I want to pull all this stuff out and repaint this in here? I'm just not sure if I want to do that just yet. You know, if I have time, maybe I'll go through the effort and do all that. But the only person who ever is going to see that is Michelle, and it's full. Okay, and so is she really going to appreciate the fact that I'm going to put an eggshell in there? In fact, I could put a semi-gloss in there, one coat of semi-gloss, and then, because right now the shelves are painted flat, you see what I mean? If I put semi-gloss, it'll be easier to keep clean and that kind of thing. That's if I decide to go the extra mile for, you know, depending how long everything's going to take. I'll decide that towards the end if I want to do anything with that, because I'm up here, what's today? Thursday, and then I got Friday, and I'll probably be here the next day for a little bit. They've got cleaners coming in here on Sunday. The cleaners are coming tomorrow to pick up all the sheets and bedding and stuff. And so they're going to clean it, and then Sunday they're going to, most of the day they're going to do a deep clean, and the next vacation renter comes in here on Monday. So I got to have all this done no later than Saturday night. Okay, and speaking of that, this is going to be my bed for the next couple days. I brought some sheets with me. I brought a blanket, and I brought my pillows from home. And this is where I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to sleep on the bed because I'm going to have it all fruit basket upset here in a minute. I'm going to have everything pulled away from the wall and stuff. And the bedroom's not very big, so I've got to, you know, it's strategic. I'm going to have to pull this away, pull this way, pull this way, paint a wall, cut in the wall, and paint as far as I can. Then I'm going to have to jump around. I'm going to have to do this in strategic parts, aren't I? Because this dresser drawer is going to be in the way. This is going to be in the way. I can't paint this whole entire room all in one go without moving things back and forth. Do you see what I mean? And because I'm just here by myself. If I was here with a couple different guys, then okay, take the mattress out, pull it out here, stick it over here by the window or something, dismantle certain things, and slide the dresser right out in the middle. Take the small little end tables, put those in the middle. You see what I mean? Then I could do the whole thing in one go. But as it is, hey, I can do it. I'll just do it one step at a time, one step at a time. And that's how I look at all my jobs. I always tell viewers, hey, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so I say, how do I do a job like this or any job? One step at a time. Just think about your project, see what you have to do, and move forward with it. Now this closet, I asked her, I said, do you want me to paint the closet? She was kind of unsure about that, but I'm going to go ahead and paint that. I'm going to take the the sliding glass doors off, and I'll probably show you how to do that along the way. I'll show you bits and pieces of how to do certain things, and I'll take, because this has not been painted, I'm going to remove that. You know, the bar here all the way across the closet pole, but I'll paint everything else in there, and in fact, you know, I'm not sure just yet whether or not I'm going to do that semi-gloss. No, I'll probably do it in eggshell. But you see, for this entire job, I've got to be strategic about my paint, because I got 2 gallons of eggshell paint, and I got 1 gallon of semi-gloss. And I didn't really measure anything per se. I mean, you can measure it and do your square footage and figure out all this stuff and talk to the paint store, blah, blah, blah. When I look at this, I see I only have semi-gloss in this section, which isn't going to take very much paint, by the way, and the bathroom. But of course, I've got the bathroom and the ceiling. But because I'm going with the same color paint, and because the semi-gloss areas already have existing semi-gloss on there, the semi-gloss that I got, it's going to flow through all these walls, and it's really not going to take very much. If some of these walls were flat paint, or if this was brand new, I'd probably have to put a coat of primer and 2 coats of semi-gloss, or something like that, because the first coat of semi-gloss, if you're putting it over primer or a flat paint, is going to soak up into the wall more so than if your walls already have semi-gloss on it. You see what I'm saying? And so I just need to make sure that I have enough paint, and I don't want to run it. I want to leave her enough for paint touch-up for the eggshell paint, and the semi-gloss paint. Does that make sense? So if I have just a little bit of semi-gloss left, let's say after doing the kitchen and the bathroom, do I really want to use that? So I have no semi-gloss left for the closet. Probably not going to do that. I'll probably end up doing the closet with the eggshell finish. Okay, because when I look at this entire place, I was almost thinking I could squeak by with 1 gallon of paint for eggshell, and then I thought, no, nothing doing. I'm not going to do that and sweat over it and be in the middle or 3/4 of my job and find out I need this much paint left out of another gallon, and I've got to run back to the store. I'm up at Tahoe, and I've got to match up the paint with my new paint. What's the best thing to do? I just ended up saying, hey, forget that. I'm going to get 2 gallons of eggshell. And if I have 3/4 of a gallon left, I'd rather have 3/4 to 7/8 of a gallon left than be short by this much paint. Do you see what I mean? Plus, I can leave it for paint touch-up for everything else. So with that in mind, I know I got plenty of eggshell paint for these walls in here, this down in here, and the little bedroom. I'll have way more eggshell paint, so I can use the eggshell paint for the closet, can't I? And I'll still have probably 3/4. I'm gonna guess I'm gonna have a half a gallon of eggshell left when I get done with this project, to 3/4 of a gallon of eggshell left. Okay, and so I know I'm gonna have that closet to do, and then, like I say, I'm not sure about this little closet here, whether or not I'm gonna paint anything in there or not. I am sure though that once I get ready to start painting, I'm gonna take these doors off. I'm gonna even take this door off. I don't want to get paint drips on there and have to wipe them off and all that. I just want to take them down and get them out of my way, so I don't have to be constantly back and forth, get in here, do that, and then slide this out of the way, then do that up there. Oh, I got a little bit of paint here, I'll have to wipe that off. Oop, I got a little paint over here, I missed a paint, and these are stained grade oak doors and door casings and door jambs and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to have to mess with trying to get paint off of there later, and then and then have her come back and say, oh yeah, everything looks good. But I see where you try to really rub on this door, and it happens to be right on the outside of the door as you walk into the bedroom, and I see all these little marks. What happened? Well, I kind of got some paint on there, and I tried to wipe it off, and some of this stain, I was wiping so hard and I didn't realize it. Now there's some smudge marks on here. And do I want to really mess with something like that and have to worry about how to match up this stain and the finish and all that kind of stuff? I'm not gonna do that. You see what I mean? So you got to pick and choose, decide what stuff you're gonna leave up and what stuff you're gonna get out. Trust me, it's much easier to have as much of this stuff out as possible. Yeah, could you sneak in there and try to get all that with a little mini roller? And I brought my little construction drop light with an extension cord. Could I leave that there because I didn't want to mess with taking these two glass sliders out? And first off, it looks like this one out the bottom's off the track because it's rubbing here, and I can tell that it's cattywampus in here. It's all angled. Do I really want to mess with that? Yeah, of course I do. Not going to take me long to pull those out, and then once I do that, I can make sure they're on the tracks after I put them back. And I might even do her a favor, and if any of these glass doors need to be adjusted, maybe I can adjust them, and it's pretty easy to do. Generally, there's screws on the bottom of the on the top edge of the wheels, and because these are glass doors, they just fit up in this little cavity here, and everything slides on the bottom rail. I see there's a bottom rail there, and that takes the weight off the top. That top just flops back and forth. Okay, so it's very simple to remove those. I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, this video here is just a preview of the rest of the videos, and I hope you're liking this, and you know, this is going to give you some ideas for next time you get ready to do a painting project. You know, if you don't do much painting now and you're a handyman or a homeowner and you want to learn stuff and you want to become a better painter, or you don't want to pay a painter. You know, if she would have called a painter to have him come out here, I'm guessing a painter would probably charge her $3,000, maybe for this entire job. $3,000, $3,500, $2,500 to $3,500 for this, really? And I might be lenient. That, you know, everything costs so much nowadays. Then you've got to get a painter in here. You've got to trust him with your property. You've got to trust him to lock the place up, keep the place clean, and not leave anything after they leave. And you're going to pay him and trust that he's done everything for you, because she's not up here. She doesn't live anywhere close to Lake Tahoe. You know, she lives four hours away. Is she going to have to come back up here? You know, all those types of things you've got to mess with. You've got to think about. And instead, why not just do it yourself? You don't have to schedule with anybody. The paint, you know, the only thing I had to buy for this project is 2 coats or 2 gallons of eggshell, 1 gallon of semi-gloss, and the smoke alarm. That's all I had to buy. I've got all my paint, material like paint roller covers and extension pole and paint brushes and, you know, drops, masking tape, and all that kind of stuff. If you start doing your own things around the house, eventually you're going to start accumulating certain things because you're doing it yourself. And just think, you didn't have to pay somebody else to do all your work. Let's say this job costs $3,500 and you got $150 into it right now. You're making, basically saving or making $350. Now you've got, maybe you have to spend $100 for some roller covers, some paint brushes, some trays, some paint trays, you know, some different things like that. No problem, because you've saved all that other money. Now you've got all that stuff for extra things. All this stuff that I've got that I'm bringing in here to do the painting, I've had for other jobs, and I've saved all kinds of money by doing it myself. Now I don't have to coordinate with anybody. I can stay here and decide if I want to work late tonight or if I want to get up real early first thing in the morning, if I wanted to get this all done, hey, if I wanted to get all this done in 2 days, I could work here late tonight and get up early and work late tomorrow night and clean up. If I want, I think I could do that. But if I want to kind of not go balls to the wall or anything, maybe I want to take my time, not rush through it, and do a good job and know that I've got everything and put everything back and stuff. If it takes me the next morning or the next until the next afternoon, hey, so be it. I've got enough time to do that. I'm doing it on my own. Nobody's here to bother me. I've got my schedule. I know when the cleaners are going to be here on Sunday. That gives me 3 days. That gives me many options and ample time to be able to do this myself. Why on earth would I want to spend over $3,000 or $2,500 to have somebody else come in here and do the paint job when I could do it myself? Do you see what I'm saying? And if you're a handyman, back to handyman, if you don't do any painting, yeah, I'm a handyman, I do plumbing, I do electrical, and I do flooring, and I do carpet, and stuff like that, but I hate painting. I just have a friend of mine do that. Hey, if it costs me $2,500 to do it, I'll just charge the owner $3,500 or $3,250 to make $750 off my painting friend. Well, instead of that, why not do the painting yourself? Learn how to do some things on your own, so you can make that money, you know. And so anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say at this point. Okay, until I come back and I start pulling all this stuff off, you know, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to. It's all about prep, baby. Have you ever heard that? It's all about prep for painting. You don't want to. I don't want to get somebody in here. You know, even if I had a flunky guy working with me, oh yeah, get the paint out and start painting in here. I'm gonna get all this stuff and I'll work ahead of you. No, don't do stuff like that. You're gonna be jumping over each other. Do all the prep work first. And luckily for me, there's no holes in the walls. There's no real major caulking I'm gonna have to do anywhere. There's hardly anything I'm gonna have to do other than just start putting the paint on. You see what I mean? But if I, you know, as you're walking around, you're going to have to look for stuff like that and make a determination. Okay, well, all right, there's some big old gouges over here in this wall. I'm going to have to put some caulking here, and I'm going to have to do something else. And the side of the door jamb might be sheetrock instead of this nice wood. And you've got a big old crack over here where the corner bead is because this thing's been slamming back and forth in there. Maybe you're going to have to clean that out and put some caulking in there and do some other stuff. And you want to check on stuff like that. You know, maybe you have some drywall repair patch or spackle or something like that you can use instead of the caulking, and you know, hey, I better fix that. I better walk around and check certain things like that. Put that stuff on first so that can be drying, so that while you're doing all the prep work to taking all the handles down and taking out all your other stuff in the bathroom and different things, you can be working on that while your spackle or whatever is drying over here, so that when you get everything else, you can sand it and scrape off some edges and stuff, put a second coat on there, whatever you got to do, and get ready before you start painting somewhere. And then if that needs a little bit more attention, to put a little bit of a skip trowel on there, and you're thinking, man, I still have to do that. Well, no problem. Let that dry, and you can start painting everything else in this room, can't you? You start painting everything in here. You can paint in the closet. You can do this little section towards the end. That can still be drying while you're working out here. Certain little projects, especially something like this, you're gonna have to jump around. You're gonna have to jump around through different hoops and see what all you've got to do. You know, you just got to get it done. Now, speaking of that, jumping through hoops, where this refrigerator is, I'm gonna pull this out from the wall, and I may have to squeeze in there, jump in there, whatever, because I want to paint the wall behind the refrigerator. Really, Joe? why not just cut it in? Well, hey, I don't want to do that because I want to do the best that I can, because then you're going to see this area in here. I'll just get a weenie roller and put it in there as far back as I can and let it be good, and that'll be fine. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pull that away from there. But as for the stove, I don't think I'm going to pull the stove out. I may end up pulling it out maybe 3 or 4 inches so I can get my little roller through there so I can reach behind it, but I'm not going to pull the whole thing out. Do you see what I mean? So I'm just going to have to pick and choose. I'll have to decide. See, here's one light. I may, I don't know yet. I may, I'll probably take the cover off. I don't know if I'm going to take the back off of that or not. I'm going to have to look at that more closely and decide. I may end up taking that light fixture down. And I noticed as for that, I noticed before, it looks like they had painted all this, then they came back later, a few years after probably, and then they caulked this, because you can see that the caulking is white up against the Navajo white paint, right? That's because somebody caulked this later. Well, when I paint this, I'm going to cut in my paint right down to the caulking edge, right to the top of the cabinetry trim. You see what I mean? Because I don't want to have the white showing anymore. Okay. And I'll have to look down here. They didn't do that here. They just have it the same color. They didn't caulk down there, so that'll be fine. And so you just kind of have to look and pick and choose what all needs to be taken down and what you can leave. You see what I mean? See, as for this, because this is in the shade, this area is in the shade all the time, right? See where the lights are? I mean, I got all the lights turned on in this condo, and there's only so much light you're going to get in here. If I wanted to cut around that particular one with my roller and then with the paintbrush, you're never going to see the difference between the paintbrush and the roller because it's in the shade. If that was out front, you would see a difference, especially right here. See, when I repaint this, I may end up deciding to take that down. And lucky for me, most of the lights, see that light is mounted up on the wood, that one's mounted on the wood, that one's mounted on the wood, this is mounted on the wood. That's good for me because I don't have to decide and pick and choose. Okay, am I going to take the light fixtures down or not? See this light fixture here? I've got to make a determination. Do I want to take that down? It looks like it might be easy enough to take down. That whole thing is just attached with one screw in the middle. I could pull that out, disconnect that, and the trim would pop off. And I might want to do that because I don't want to get paint flecks on this. I don't want to have to worry about cutting that in, so I'll probably end up doing that. As for these vertical blinds here, I'm going to have to look at that. And the trim, I think I can take that out. I haven't looked at that just yet. I believe I could take that out, and then I'll have that out of the way. Okay, but as for the actual blind, I believe I'm going to keep that exactly where it's at, and I'm going to have to hope that I can figure out what to do around the edges. I might have to disconnect something on the back. I haven't looked at these blinds, this unit just yet. I kind of like them, by the way. They look very sturdy. You can see that. You can pull that. It's nice. And you know how you got the vertical individual blinds and the pieces always come off and they get crooked up here and they get broken off and snapped off and they never seem to work properly. You got the wires dangling. Well, I don't have any of that there. But I'm not going to mess around with taking that whole thing down. I don't think. I'm going to have to look at that. Maybe I can disconnect it from the bottom to let it swivel a little bit so that I can get back in there. Or if not, I'll do the best I can along that edge and reach my. I might have it. I don't know. I might have to. Get a weenie roller in there. I've got a little 4-inch weenie roller, or just use a paintbrush and do the best I can, because nobody's ever going to disconnect those and find out whether or not I went any further or not. But as for the trim, I believe I want to take that valance off because I don't want to have to mess around painting around the valance and trying to get up in there and all that. Do you see what I mean? But I can leave that track alone, and then I can cut that in, and you'll never see anything different once I put the valance trim back on. So lots of different things I'm going to have to take into consideration when I get going on this project. But I feel good about this, where I'm at. I'm glad I made this little preview video because it's given me some different things to think about as well. Okay, so that pretty much ends this first preview of this painting project, and I hope you join me for the rest. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos. Hey, I'm trying to save you money here and showing you that if you're just an average Joe, hey, I always tell people I'm just an average Joe. If I can do it, you can do it. And I won't show you anything on my channel that I think you can't do, which means, what does that mean? That means anything you see on my YouTube channel or anywhere else for that matter, if I post it, I think you can do it. And save your money. Why not do it yourself? Don't pay someone else when you can do it yourself. You know? Hey, if you got the time, energy, and a little bit of know-how, you can do it too. Class is now open. Let's talk about this paint first before I start getting into any paint or anything. Michelle, my friend, she had these two paint cans from years ago and she wanted me to match this. And Royal happens to be from Ace, so I wanted to, I thought I would go to Ace, and when I looked on here, it said Ace, and it gives different information on here. It gives the color and stuff, and I thought that was pretty good because see, with this semi-gloss, I knew that was for the kitchen here in the bathroom, and here was a stamp on there, and it said, see right there, it said Navajo White, and I looked at, and there was only half gallon left, and plus this stuff was what year was it? 2013, I think I saw somewhere on this can here. So I know this paint is 10 years old. I ended up mixing this little bit up, but I'm probably not going to use this. And the reason why is I would look at this. Here's the tint base, 1868310. And now here's my new semi-gloss of the Royal. Let's just see if the tint base is the same. Here's the ultra white tint base, because all paint comes just white and then they mix up, and sometimes they change the tint base. And if they do that, you're not going to get like for like. In any case, this is 10 years old. Okay, 186A31. 186A31. See that right there? 186B410. That's the tint base. So I know this tint base in this paint is just slightly different from this. So there's a tip for it. If you want to match up paint, let's say, just because they match this up, Navajo White. See here, Navajo White, right there. And it's the Ace Navajo White, okay? And just because they match it up exactly the same, if I put this paint and used it as touch-up in the kitchen area, it's not going to match 100% perfect because this tint base is slightly different than this tint base. Plus, this is 10-year-old paint, and this is brand new paint, okay? So, in any case, chances are I'm probably not going to use this amount of paint. Worst case scenario, if I got almost all done, and let's say I only had this much left, and let's say I decided to paint that cabinet, that little room, the lockout room, the owner's closet I call that. Okay, let's say I decided to paint that, for instance, in there. Took all that stuff out, and let's say I didn't want to use the new semi-gloss paint. What do you think I could do? In a pinch, I could probably use this old paint, couldn't I? It's got about that much left. Chances are, at the end of this job, I'm probably going to end up throwing it away. And to throw it away, I would lift the lid up and let it dry out. I'll probably take it home, let it dry out for days on end, maybe a week or two, or longer, until it dried out. Or I could put kitty litter in it or something like that. Okay, now as for the flat paint, I'm not doing flat paint. I'm doing eggshell, and it's called eggshell. Eggshell is a color, and it's also a type of paint. This is a type of paint, eggshell, and the funny thing was, this wasn't Navajo white. This was called Only Yesterday. See right there, Only Yesterday. But when you look at the paint, this is the Only Yesterday, this is the Navajo white. It looks pretty much the same, so I thought, phooey on that. I'm not gonna get the new paint yesterday, only yesterday. I'm gonna make the eggshell paint on the walls out here in the bedroom and stuff. I'm gonna make that Navajo white too, and that's what I'm doing. It's all pretty much gonna be the same. If somebody walked in here and you said, "Hey, are there two colors of paint in here?" You say, "What? No, it all looks the same to me." And when I pulled this. When the paint store pulled this open, they pulled it open. Look at that. It's a metal can. It's all rusty around there. This stuff is almost dry. There's no way they could have mixed that up. Okay, and so down the road, I'm going to end up throwing it away. I'm going to open up the lid and let it dry out. I don't want to throw any of that away until it's all the way perfectly dry. Now, had they have years ago, had they have wanted to save this, there's some things they could have done. They could have put the rest of this paint into a plastic container. You can get a plastic container at any hardware store with the lid, and you could transfer that into somewhere else. Or they could have put plastic. They could have taken a plastic and just put it over the layer of paint and what you're doing, and then store it. Because what you're doing is you're preventing any air that's in this paint can, or any air that could possibly come through the paint can lid to dry out the paint. It's not going to dry out the paint if you got plastic over it, right? You just have to remember not to shake it back and forth when you get ready to use it, because you got the plastic bag in there. You're going to have to pull the plastic bag out. You're going to have to wipe your hands off and all that kind of stuff. But it's one way to do it. And I can also tell somebody banged on here and stuff, and somebody opened this with a screwdriver. They didn't use the proper little tool. Here's your proper little tool to open a paint can. They didn't use that. They used a screwdriver. And when they put it back down, eventually over time, what's going to happen is this can lid is going to get crooked. It's going to be out of whack. Okay? And when it seals, it's not going to seal properly, and it's going to let in a little bit of air. Plus, with metal cans, it starts rusting. That's the one thing I wish every paint store would do, is put these in plastic containers. Now at the Home Depot and Lowe's, you get plastic containers, the plastic lids, and that kind of stuff, and they don't have metal anymore. Well, apparently Ace didn't get the memo on that. They still have metal cans, metal can lids and stuff, and so it's like, whatever. So in any case, that's how I determined how to match up the paint, because I took this to Ace, and because Ace had Royal, I thought, oh, I'll just get everything at Ace. If I didn't know what paint this was, I could have taken it to the Home Depot. They could have looked at the outside. They could have matched it up. There's ways to match things up, but I decided I'm going to get like for like, and they had it in their system and all that kind of stuff. And when you're at the paint store, or when I was at Ace, they gave me this little card. Here's something that's Ace Rewards card. It's not a credit card. You can sign up for this, And then you get membership perks if you go to Ace, and every once in a while when you go in there, they say, hey, you want to, hey, you got $5 or $10 credit that you can use for your purchase. You want to go ahead and do that? Yeah, sure. Had I known that, the thing is, you can't just do this at the checkout counter on the same day that you purchase all this. You have to do it with 24 hours previous. Had I have known that, I could have went in there 2 or 3 days earlier, signed up for their little rewards card, okay, before I purchased $150 worth of paint. Well, it was $150. That was for the paint and the smoke alarm. The smoke alarm was like $40. So, in any case, there's a tip for you for Ace and how to get your paint and that kind of stuff, okay? And so, talking about savings too. When you're at a paint store, they'll give you some paint sticks for free if you just ask. They'll also give you one of these for free if you ask. Now you can buy this at any hardware store for about 89 cents or $1.25 if you want, but if you just ask, they'll give you one. And that's the best way to open up a paint can. Don't use your screwdriver. Use your screwdriver and you bugger up the edge, and pretty soon it's hard to get it open and stuff. You don't have that problem as much if it's a plastic container with a plastic lid. Speaking of money savings, remember I was telling you how much this project would probably cost, maybe between $2,500 and $3,500, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be close to $3,500. That doesn't include installing the first alert smoke alarm. Now this smoke alarm, and if you ask the painter, hey, can you replace that for me? They might look at you and say, I'm not doing that for you. You get the smoke alarm, and I can't be responsible for it, blah blah blah. And you get an electrician out here, guess what? Electrician's going to charge you for his time, for his service call, and all that kind of stuff. To drive out wherever it is, if it's an hour away or whatever. I mean, it could be $150 labor to install this one smoke alarm, and when he gets here, it'd probably take him 10 minutes to install it. And this smoke alarm costs $41.99, probably $43 with tax, or $44, whatever. And he probably charge you $60, $70 for the smoke alarm, $150 trip charge, and now you've saving $150 at least, plus $10, $15 on your smoke alarm if you just do it yourself. So I'll be showing you how to do that along the way too. That's part of my project here of installing and applying all the paint. Okay, and speaking of that, this is going to be one of my most important tools here on the project today. What do you suppose I'm going to use that for? I'm going to take the end off, and I'm going to use the broom handle for my paint extension pole. That's all I'm going to need. And I got my paint frames. I'll show you stuff like that later. And as for what I'm going to use, I'm only using my 3-step ladder, and I like using this thing. And I don't have a 6-foot ladder. Newsflash, I don't have a 6-foot ladder to my name. I used to, but I got an 8-foot ladder now. I wasn't going to cart an 8-foot ladder over here to do this whole project. And the reason why I like something like this, it's wide steps first off, and the top is pretty wide. Plus it's got this handle that comes up here. So when I get up there, it's easier for me to balance up there because I can use this to get up. First off, when I'm here, it can help me with this, and when I'm here, my knees kind of helps me balance on it too, and I can get up this high. And I wasn't quite sure if this was going to be high enough to get to get in the kitchen, because the kitchen ceiling seems to be just a little bit taller than the hallways and stuff. Let me see if I can get up there. I'm pretty sure I can. I might have to stand on the counter or something, but I wasn't gonna bring my 8-foot ladder over here. See, I'm good. I'm good here. That's good. I was thinking about that, and I thought, worst case scenario, I could stand on the counter and reach up there. See, this is going to be a little tricky. I may have to step on the counter and then get up in there. I can do that. Okay. I use this for painting all the time. in certain areas. Okay, I don't like using the 2-step ladder or the 3-step with the small with the small area here. See, this part here, it goes from here up. I've seen 2-step ladders with this just going like this, or a 3-step with it just being short. You know what I mean? And it doesn't give you as much safety factor. And the ones that have the small treads, you've seen them. I don't even use those because it's too easy for you to come up and down and twist your ankle or something, get off the step or whatever. Okay, so that's what I kind of use. This one's called Costco, C-O-S-C-O, but you don't have to get one exactly like that, but get something similar. Okay, that's going to be my friend, and my broom is going to be my friend in this project, right? Okay, so I'm about ready for my project, but obviously I'm not getting into the paint just yet because I've got to do all my prep work first, get everything pulled out and all that. Now let's talk one more thing. What, pray tell, would you do if somebody told you, hey, I want you to repaint this condo, I want it the same color as this, and by the way, I don't have any old paint cans for you to use to match up your paint or see what color paint I use or anything like that. I have no idea. Somebody else threw it away. I told them to save it in my little closet here underneath the stairs, and they didn't leave the paint. Okay, they didn't leave the paint under here where the water heater is. You can't even see under there, can you? And I thought the paint was down in there. It's not, but I want you to match up the paint. What would you do? Well, you could take a paint card, go down to a local hardware store, and they'll give you a paint card. You know, if you look at it, yeah, it's kind of an off-white. You get some cards that are a paint deck or a small card that has all their off-whites that they have that you can pick from, and you can bring that out here and you can hold it up there and kind of squint and look at it in the light, look at it in the dark and in the shadows and all that kind of stuff, and make a determination that way. Okay, what else could you do if you didn't have that? How would you match up this paint? Well, you know, worst case scenario, if you had to, you could cut a hole. You could cut a hole in a closet, in the owner's closet down at the bottom, in the closet down here in the corner somewhere. You could cut it. You could cut a little hole and put a cut-in box there, put a telephone mud ring there, and a blank plate, and you can take that little piece with you to the hardware store. You could do that, couldn't you? That's what I would do if I didn't have the paint color. Okay, something like that. All right. So there's a couple thoughts and ideas for you, and I think it's time for me to get busy. Well, slight change of plans for the bedroom. You remember I was going to slide the bed over? Well, I decided not to do that. This is what I decided to do. I took the bed out of here, and the headboard was really super heavy. It was attached, and I just slid the dresser drawer out into the middle of the room, put the headboard against it because this mirror was attached to the back of this too. Put the picture here. Took the glass counter off where the TV was. Took the bracket off that held the glass right there, and I'm gonna choose to leave this on here. I think. I could look at that and see, but I think they probably have it taped on there is my guess. And I really don't want to mess with that. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. And so I'm going to have to be real careful with this. I'll have to paint around that. Okay, I don't, see, for me to disconnect the TV, I'd have to disconnect it off of the bracket, and then I would have to, this is the power cord that I don't think it can be unplugged right here. I tried it, and I don't want to jerk too hard in case it's connected on there along with the TV. Nowadays you plug that in and then you know, I could leave this dangle, and then I could swivel that out or pop that off. Sometimes you can take the bracket. There's a pin or something there. You just have to look. They're all created different. But I think for the sake of argument, I'm going to paint around that. I think I can do that. Okay. And I popped the door off there. I popped the other door off there. I'm going to get those out of the way, and I was going to show you how. Remember, I said I was going to show you how I take these glass doors off, and that's what this quick little segment is. I have not looked at these yet, but theory has it that I'm just going to lift it up. I'm going to lift it up off the bracket there. The wheels are going to lift up. This top area is going to slip up into the track, into this little track here, and then I just swivel it out. Okay, like this, lift up, swivel out towards me. Okay, now it's off. Now I have to swivel it down further until it gets out of the top. And I've got to remember which one goes where. And okay. Same thing with this back one. Lift up, swivel out, and it looks like, let's see. I got to be kind of careful with that. Looks like the plastic top bit came off from before, and that's what was keeping that going cattywampus. And I don't know if there's an extra piece. Here's one piece that came off. That was kind of laying down on the ground. I'll have to look at that. That should fit up at the top, and that keeps the top from slipping back and forth. So I'll have to take a look at that. And I think one of them it came off of one, and one's missing. Now the other one might be in here. I'll have to look at that, and if not, I can at least tell Michelle what's going on with that, and she could take that plastic little bracket, and she might be able to take the plastic bracket and go to the hardware store. She might be able to get like 2 of these for the top of her doors. Okay, I mean, worst case scenario, the doors will still slide, and the top has a little plastic one here, one there, and one of these, this one will either snap here or on the other one, and then she's missing one. Okay, so I'll have to take a reminder on that and see what I can do. I'll probably have to get a punch list going for different things that I can ask her. And if you see, I got my glasses on. I've got my my support belt on here. I got a knee brace on. I got my gloves on. I'm going to change my pants here before I start painting this stuff. And I was able to slide this mattress out myself. I was gonna slide it all the way down, but I thought, hey, I'll just put it here. And generally on bigger mattresses, I think that's a queen, but if I'm not mistaken, that must be a king, because the box is underneath. It came in 2 pieces, so that must be a king bed. A queen bed, usually the box is 1 piece, and that was good because I could carry those out, and I carried this out gently to make sure I didn't scratch it or anything. And sometimes you have to just decide things on the fly. Remember, I was going to slide that bed over. Well, after I started looking at it, I thought, no way, I can't do that. It's too heavy with all that on there. Plus that headboard is super heavy because it's all particle board, and with a finish over it. Just this right here is probably, this little piece right here is probably 20 pounds, 25 pounds or so. And you know, you start jerking on beds and you can start ripping things apart. So I thought, no, I better not do that. That headboard had a piece of trim attached all the way through it, down in here. And I thought, I'll just leave it alone, and I'll slide it out into the middle of the room. See, now I've got enough room to do my painting over there. I'll take the doors out. I'll take these glass doors out. I'll remember which one is which. So when I put them out in the front room, I'll have to remember which one is which. Does it really matter? Well, it might not matter, but I'm going to put them back the same way I found them. Okay. And as for those, well, maybe I can show you here on this one. Okay. See on the wheels, you see this wheel assembly here? It's got a screw right there, and then that's it's probably a heavy gauge plastic wheel, and there's another one over there. Well, you can adjust the doors. If they're crooked, you can tighten one side up or loosen one side, tighten up the other, vice versa. You just have to start messing with those to see which way is to lower your doors, which way is to raise your doors. Last thing you want is for it to scrape on the bottom, you know. And if it is, then you raise the door up a little bit, and then you may have to adjust both sides, close the door. If it's not closing exactly, maybe your floor is not level. Maybe and it's bowed and sloped down or something because it's 25 years old and 50 years old, and the foundation's cracked. Who knows? And maybe your wall is not vertically plumb exactly right, but your doors is hitting at the bottom. There's a big old gap up at the top. Well, you can adjust your door to make it fit and to make it so it doesn't drag too. You just have to play with it. Okay, that's a way to adjust your doors and stuff. And see, now I can get to everything. I can pull the closet pole out, and they have not screwed it in, so I can take that out, take all this stuff out of here, get that all ready, take the other picture down. I've already taken this stuff valance down, and my game plan, usually when I get into one paint, I like to continue that paint all throughout the project without stopping and starting and getting my paintbrush and my paint roller wet, and then rinsing it out so that I can do something else. And then, okay, now I need to start using the roller again, or the paintbrush, and now they're wet. Well, I'll show you a trick on what I do for that. I don't even have to rinse it out. I don't have to rinse out the roller. I don't have to rinse out the paintbrush. And I can let it sit there for a few hours, if not more, without it drying out. And I'll show you that later. Okay? But first and foremost, I still am making sure to get everything ready in here. And like I say, I may end up deciding once I get this room all done. See, I've got to put all this stuff out here, so obviously I can't really paint this hallway. Maybe I could paint the hallway if I take the mattress, and I can probably slip that right in there, slide this over, slip that right there, so that I can take these pictures out. I can take these handles out, and get as much of this flat paint done, or the eggshell done, as I can through the hallway and that kind of stuff. Then I can work on doing something else. I can start cutting in. When I get the whole bedroom cut in and stuff, then I'll have to jump back. I'm gonna have to jump back and forth, start putting the room all back together, so that I get this stuff, so I get all this stuff out of the way. Because before I get here, I got to slide some more chairs over. See, if I really was energetic, I could probably do this in such a way. Take that table, slide the table over here, take the chair over here, take the recliner over here, take the light over here, take the TV over here, and have it all kind of situated in here so that I can still have enough room, 4 feet, 4.5, 5 feet over here, so I can paint this wall and get and shimmy on over there to paint that. you know what? I might end up doing that. So it just depends how you want to do it. Because when I get into the paint, I like to just start painting, and then get the roller out, get the paintbrush out, and just keep going, going. I don't like to stop and jump back and forth and all that kind of stuff. You see what I mean? Now, as for the semi-gloss, I know the semi-gloss is out of a different can. So I know that the roller, I have to use a different roller for that. I have to use a different paintbrush, or let the paintbrush clean it and let it dry. But good thing for me, I've got 2 cut-in paintbrushes. I always try to keep 2 in case I need another one while another one's wet, because once you rinse one out, you should let it dry all the way. If it's still wet, you put it into your finished paint to do some cut-in, let's say, then your first few strokes, you're not going to get a nice even flow of paint. Because you got some water on your paintbrush. You know what I mean? But we'll just see how I want to tackle this, because like I say, once I get into the paint, I like to just get into the paint. So I may spend the extra time. I was hoping to get some paint on the wall in the next couple hours, but I might want to spend those hours strategically getting the bathroom all ready for the semi-gloss, getting all this stuff moved, and getting it all situated out into the middle of this room so that I can work around there, which means I got to take the valances down. Now I've got some places to stack the valances here or across here so they're not in my way, right? And get all that done, and then I can leave an area open. I'll leave this area open so that I can get around over to there too, so I can get through there, and then I'll be able to get into the kitchen. See, I'll be able to do pretty much everything if I just spend a little bit more time, think a little bit strategically, because I'm here by myself. And it's if I don't do it now, I got to do it later. So you pick and choose your poison. You could go in there and start painting in the bedroom right now if you wanted, but I'm choosing not to do that. I'm choosing to spend the next few hours getting this all ready, and then I'm looking at my clock, and I'll probably go eat a late lunch, after that, and then come back. And then I'm ready to rock and roll all mid to late afternoon and all through the evening. I can blow and go with my paint roller and get all of the flat paint probably done. I call it flat paint because there was flat before the eggshell paint I'm going to put on. I could probably get most of that done. That would be my goal. Get all that done, and just using the paint roller with my eggshell, okay? And then after that, I'll see where I'm at. Do I want to spend another hour, 2 hours before sleeping? Do I want to do that before I go to bed, or do I want to wait until the next morning? You remember, I'm going to be sleeping right here. And worst case scenario, if I'm not all done with the bedroom and that kind of stuff, I may just leave that there, and I can still scoot in there and sleep. Hey, it doesn't matter to me, pretty much. And if I have to do that, I have to do that. It doesn't matter. I just don't want to take the bed back in here until I get all the walls done in here, and I have to get everything cut in. Okay? I got everything cut in, and all that kind of stuff, so that then I can start putting stuff back together. If I have time to do that tonight, I might do that. And then that's just one less thing I have to worry about tomorrow, and then it'll make it easier for me to get in and out of bed tonight, first thing in the morning, or whatever. So you do it however works for you. I'm just kind of showing you different things of what I'm planning to do, how I'm going to get this job done, because I've got 2.5 days, and because this is the first day, I had to drive up here, I had to unload, get all my tools out, get all my stuff out. Here's my suitcase here. I got my bedding. I brought my bedding here. I brought my, I had to bring my paint here. I had to bring my my charger for my video camera, my construction light. Here's I'll talk about my my paint drops. I've got my paint bucket with all my stuff. I've got some other buckets here for cleaning in case I have a paint spill or splatter anywhere. Here's my paint tray with all my different stuff. I even have my tool bag setting out here because I'm glad I did, because I've got to use some Allen wrenches, and I happen to have my Allen wrenches in there, a whole complete set, standard and metric, because I need my Allen wrenches to take the towel bars down and the towel ring. Okay, I need my Allen wrenches for that, and I'm glad I had them, because if I didn't have them, then I'd have to think, how on earth am I going to get those out? And here's a tip: if you have a really super small little screwdriver and it's sharp and it's very small, sometimes you can put it in a Allen wrench hole. I'm talking something about like that, and maybe even just a hair smaller than that. You can tell this is rounded off. I need to get a new one, don't I? I use that so much. See how it's rounded? Little screwdriver. Sometimes you can get Allen screws out for towel bars and stuff like that. But in any case, I also brought a couple drills with me, some crazy glue, some drywall screws in case I needed anything. I don't want to have to leave here. I'm basically stuck here for the next 2.5 days to get this job done. I got to be careful. I don't want to break any valances that are tinny. They haven't been touched for the last 30 years probably. And so I've got to take my time, do things right. Don't be like a bull in a china shop and just start jerking things off the wall. Oh yeah, I'll get it here. Oh, oops, cracked it. Oops, I broke the light lens. I was trying to get this light lens off, and I thought you just jerked it off, and I didn't realize you had to unscrew it, or I didn't realize you had to unclip it, or I didn't realize you have to undo one little screw and then pull that before you can push the other thing up. I mean, every light fixture is different, you know, and so you just have to take your time to a certain extent, learn from your mistakes, and do different things, but don't rush yourself too much. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm just kind of showing you my progress as I'm going. That's part of the video series. That's part of your learning. Watch and learn. Some people say, hey Joe, just get on with it. I just wasted 15 minutes of my life. I didn't see you do anything. And then I look at the video and I'm like, well, you didn't see me do anything, but you saw me explaining stuff, didn't you? Lots of times you learn by just listening to somebody, showing you, pointing to different things, explaining different things as they go, instead of actually taking the light fixture down. I'm talking about the light fixture. I'm talking about the, you know, whatever I'm talking about. And some of the stuff I'll show you, some of the stuff I won't show you. But that's just part of the learning process, okay? And I always say, hey, you need to watch all of my video content, because you never know. I never know what I'm going to say next. You might watch a 10-minute little segment and think, oh man, this is 10 minutes, and 5 minutes into it, you're like, yeah, I know this. I'm not going to watch the rest of it. Had you watched the last 5 minutes, you could have taken a 15-second little blurb on the video, and a light bulb might have come on in your head and said, oh, I see what he's talking about. That I didn't realize that. I'm glad I watched that part, because I just learned something. Always take that in consideration when you watch my videos. You know, if you can find a 15-second snippet in a 3-minute section of a video, or a 15-minute section of a video, and you only get the advantage of 1 minute of whatever I'm saying, you're never going to know that until you watch the whole thing. And if you watch the whole thing, and if you, yeah, I know this, yes, I know this, yes, I know this, it's just a confirmation. When you watch certain things 2-3 different times, it resonates in your brain. Why do you suppose advertisers on TV show you the same commercials all the time? The same cereal commercial, the same whatever it is on there, the same beer commercial, and then when you go down to the grocery store and you need some cereal, they're hoping that you're going to remember, oh yeah, that's the cereal I want. It's the same one they keep throwing at me on all the different ads. So you take that same type of thought process when you watch videos, and it's something that you already know or something. You see what I mean? Okay, enough of that. It's time for me to get busy.